Hey guys, it's Spacey Sims, and we are back with more Mystic Destinies. Oh my god, so the last part was just so adorable. My heart's all a flutter. Anyway, so here we go, Chapter 9. The sound of a doorbell rings through the house. For a moment, I'm entirely confused as to where I am. Then I sit up, my hair flying forward. What time is it? I have classes today. I blink a few times at the unfamiliar room as I begin to remember where I am. Oh, that's right. Tatsuya brought me here yesterday. And I fell asleep on him. I want to pull the covers up over my head at the memory, but then I look around to make sure I'm alone. I wonder how I got back in bed anyway. Oh man, what if he tucked me in? So embarrassing. No, romantic. I cover my face with my sheet and twist in shame at the thought. Voices float to me through the air, and voices float to me through the door, and I realize I should get up and start the day. No use worrying about it now. I'll have to face him sometime. Although I could probably climb out the window. Shaking my head at my ridiculous thoughts, I get out of bed and go to the door. I carefully creep into the hallway, hoping to avoid whoever it is that's talking out there. As I get closer to the voice, I realize that it's actually two people. Tatsuya's and a female's that I'm unsure of. Oh, it's what's her face. I don't think that's Sakuko or Chisaki, though. Realize it's coming from the balcony, I slide along the wall, hoping for a peek. Tatsuya comes into view, his back turned, and a girl that looks somewhat familiar is with him. I squint, trying to remember who she might be when she turns her head to the side. Haruna? She must have just come from a late night at work because she looks tired, but she smiles so sweetly at Tatsuya it makes me sick. Yeah, it does. Step off. Step off! Push her off that balcony. Now that I'm this close, I can clearly hear their conversation. So that girl from before, she really wasn't your girlfriend then? I have to cover my mouth as I gasp from this direct question. No. Tatsuya's voice sounds especially strained and stiff when he says this, and the hope I didn't know I held sinks in my stomach. What am I even thinking? Of course he said no. I know he's not my boyfriend. I see. I suppose that's none of my business, though. I just thought, if she was, it might not be appropriate for me to be here. But ever since I saw you again, I can't stop thinking about you. Bitch, back off. Well, maybe that isn't right either. It's more that... Hello? I spin back around at the sound of a man's voice behind me. In front of me stands a thin man in a slightly wrinkled suit and glasses. Oh my god, he looks like Tatsuya in a way. And I blink for a moment, thinking somehow that Tatsuya has aged up and gotten in front of me, and doesn't have blue hair anymore. But then my brain kicks in and I realize he must be Tatsuya's father. Uh-oh, busted. I bet he totally knows I was eavesdropping. I quickly get it together and bow deeply. Good morning, you must be Tatsuya's father. Thank you for letting me stay here. Haruki scratches the side of his head and smiles gently. Yes, I'm Tatsuya's father. I'm Haruki Yukamura. But as for letting you stay here, it's probably more accurate to say that it was my wife's decision. Not that I mind. Please, there's no need to bow. I stand up straight and examine Mr. Yukamura. I'm surprised that he shares his wife's family name, but I figure it must have something to do with dragon culture. He's not what I expected. Although he looks like Tatsuya, he has a much more relaxed air about him. Haruki also seems a bit nervous and even slightly embarrassed as he continues. I got home late last night, but Chisaki said you were a friend of Tatsuya's. Haruki looks past me out onto the balcony. Do you know Haruna, too? I glance back and shake my head, ashamed of my actions. No, sir, Tatsuya is my assigned partner from class. I, passed out. Yes, don't worry, Chisaki told me everything this morning. Haruki doesn't say anything else, but looks from me to Tatsuya and Haruna out the balcony. I begin to feel awkward as hell standing here. He has to be wondering about the connection between the three of us. Suddenly, he startles a bit and refocuses on me. Are you hungry? Sorry, I'm not the best host, but Chisaki is making breakfast downstairs. Would you like some? Oh, alright, sure, thank you. I'm surprised everyone's still at home this early. At my house, Dad was usually gone before we even woke up. I'm surprised everyone's home this early. Yeah, that's why. Because it's early, you're dead crazy. Haruki turns around and starts moving down the stairs. I glance back at Haruna and Tatsuya before following him. Feeling timid, I walk to the dining room table that Sakuko and Toshiyuki are already sitting at. Haruki moves past me to seat himself, and I join them. A plate is placed in front of me, and I look up to see Chisaki. Good morning, Inara. I made this specially for you, so I hope you'll enjoy it. I look down to see a fried egg, rice, and grilled fish. When I see everyone else's plates, I realize they all have the same thing. I cock my head to the side. Thank you. It's special because it's warm. Huh? We eat our food cold, remember? Oh, right. Thank you, Mrs. Yukamura. Not a problem. I begin to eat my food slowly as to be polite, but I soon realize that'll be impossible. It's very good. Thank you, dear. I should hope so, since I cook it in the cafe all the time. Mom, why is it that Inara gets to sit around in her pajamas on a Tuesday? I have to go to school. She should too. Don't start, Sakuko. So you even bother her? Of course, at least she's easy to get a reaction out of. Then again, you never have any emotions, Yuki. Maybe you're even more of a robot than Tatsuya. Whatever. Sakuko, that's enough. Sorry. But it was a completely valid question. Keeping up with all the different conversations, even if it's not the most pleasant topics, makes me smile. Without thinking, the next words slip out of my mouth. So this is the kind of family Tatsuya grew up with. He's lucky. Lucky how? I let out a little giggle. You two really are related, huh? I wish I wasn't. Unfortunately, it must be nice having everyone together like this every day. I think you mean annoying. Yeah, seriously. If you think this seems nice, your family must be a total downer than Inara. Sakuko, apologize. Sorry, that was pretty mean. No, it's alright. You're right. My family is kind of a downer. You don't have to talk about them if you don't want to, honey. I don't mind. I'm surprised. But I don't so much right now. Oh, wait. I don't mind. I'm surprised, but I don't so much right now. Like, I don't mind. My mother was always very cold to me. Not so much at first, but it seemed like the older I got. And then she married my father, who's a wonderful man, but rarely around because of work. But I gained a stepsister that I'm very close to. She's wonderful. She's a wonderful, bright person who's very loving. I just don't get to see her anymore since I moved away to be closer to school. But yeah, our family dining together? Those times were few and far between. Well, geez, that's sad. Sakuko, even so, it's not polite to say that. Your stepsister sounds great, though. Yeah, but she never gets to see her. Actually, why do all of you get to sit together like this? It's Tuesday morning, so don't you have places to go? Haruki worked overtime last night, so he doesn't need to go until later. And Yuki and Sakuko will be going to school shortly. Tatsuya has Tuesday mornings off and goes to help my father at his dojo nearby. That's why he comes here on Monday nights. Haruki adjusts his glasses and looks at me before speaking in his deep, calm voice. Do you have classes today? Yes, but I'm still not feeling that well, and my morning classes will be over before I can get there. I might try to go to my later ones, but I don't know. I know how it is to always want to work, but it's okay to take it easy sometimes, especially for your health. You should relax today. Massive releases of power can be pretty rough on anyone, especially someone not used to it. Just then, the only missing member of the family walks into the room. Tatsuya grabs a plate on the counter and sits down at the last open seat next to his father. He doesn't make eye contact with anyone, and Chisaki seems to notice. Is everything okay, Tatsu? Not that Haruna bitch, right? Yeah, you tell him, Mom. What? The children quietly get up from their seats to wash their plates, and the atmosphere in the room seems to have changed. Tatsuya only gives a short nod, not bothering to look up. I wonder what could have possibly happened between him and her. Well, we're going. See ya, Nara. See ya, Nara, I'm suing. Feel better, and I'm sorry about yesterday. I wave at the Yukamura siblings as they leave the kitchen. Chisaki moves to the sink to take care of the dishes, leaving me alone with the men. Seeing them next to each other, they seem so alike. I wonder if Tatsuya gets along with his dad. Tatsuya, your friend still isn't feeling well. Do you think you could take care of her today? But I have to help grandfather. Tatsuya starts to protest, but Chisaki's clear voice rings out from the sink. Just take her to the dojo with you. Besides, I think father would be interested in meeting her. I wish I could go with you, in fact. He looks like, why do you have to meet everyone in my family? It's like we're forced. He loves us. He knows he does, but... Tatsuya? Yes, all right. I can just go home. No, not in that condition. I won't hear of it. Sorry, Inara. When Chisaki makes up her mind, that's the end of it. Resigned, I stand up and take my plate to the sink. Am I just back to being a burden again, even after last night? Everything was fine before Haruna. Ugh, what am I thinking? I shake my head, trying to shake loose these ridiculous thoughts, but I can't shake the feeling that Tatsuya doesn't want me there. Well, yeah. Mr. Yukimura was indeed right when he said I could not change Chisaki's mind. Despite my protests, I ended up in my freshly laundered clothes from yesterday, off to see Tatsuya's grandfather. I'll give you one warning. Take my father very seriously. Those were the words of advice Chisaki had given me as I said my goodbyes to the Yukimura couple who had so kindly helped me. Maybe it was supposed to help me somehow, but I just ended up nervous in the end. Tatsuya at my side has been quiet as ever. His mood seems somehow grim, too. I sigh, feeling my tired body ache from yesterday. I want to ask about Haruna, but it's not like I can just blurt that out right now. Things would get so awkward. Instead, I decide to ask about the scary grandfather of his. So, what's your grandfather like? What kind of dojo is this? Tatsuya looks at me and pushes up his sliding glasses. The Yukimura dojo has been around for centuries. We specialize in teaching offensive ice attacks, particularly with sword fighting styles. Kenjutsu. He's been teaching me since I was maybe 4 or 5, so now I help him out as an instructor there when I can. Wow, you do so much. You must never have time to relax. And now you work at Veritas, too? I'm the eldest son, so I have a lot of responsibilities. If I don't do them, who will? For just a moment, I remember last night, how I understood exactly how Tatsuya feels, the sense of responsibility he feels. Tatsuya takes a deep breath in and exhales. As for what my grandfather's like, his name's, Daichi Yukimura? He's an intense man. Everything he does to the extreme. He doesn't tolerate deviation unless you're strong enough to overcome him. And he's generally a traditionalist. Believes in the family, the clan, being respectful to women. But at the same time, he married my grandmother, a phoenix, against the clan's wishes. Tatsuya shakes his head. He's hard for me to understand, even though I've known him all my life. That's right, isn't Tatsuya Sho's cousin? Didn't we learn that in the last one? Right? I think we some kind of like distant relation. Anyway. So you two must be very close then. Tatsuya nods. Grandfather is he's the one person I admire most. I may not understand him all the time, but I completely respect him. He married someone outside the clan and so you could totally marry a sorceress, like, hello! Ding, 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 ding! Lots of neon flashing arrows over here. Tatsuya says it so firmly that I can feel that he does. Still, now I feel even more nervous about meeting him. Without any way out of the situation, I resign to calm my nerves for the rest of the walk. We walk into the dojo and see it's full of people in blue gis and hakamas getting ready for practice. I'm not sure if I said any of that right. I'm just going to go with it. A man with long blue hair is staring at us as soon as we get in. I look around nervously, expecting Grandpa Yukimura to pop out of nowhere. Really? You walk and you see a man with blue hair and you're not automatically like, that must be a relative of yours. The man with the heavy eyebrows keeps glaring at us, and I do a double take as I realize Tatsuya is leading us to him. Dude! Your grandfather does not look like your grandfather. Crazy. You're late. Class begins in 3 minutes. Sorry, grandfather. I wasn't expecting to have to take her. Grandfather? This guy is old enough to be Tatsuya's grandfather? And seriously, 3 minutes early is late? What a hard ass. Tatsuya makes a faint motion towards me, and Grandpa Yukimura's eyes fall on me. He does not. I mean, he looks like an adult compared to like a 20-something-year-old, but not like he's your grandpa. He's got to at least be in his 60s if you think about it. I gulp, feeling the strength of those piercing blue eyes boring into me. As he examines me, I notice that I can feel an intensity in the air. This must be his aura. Maybe it's even his magic. I've never felt anything like this before. This is Inara Shinomura. He used my real last name. I swallow again when I realize that this man probably thinks of me as an enemy too. I don't want to be his enemy. Why are you trying to make me look bad, Tatsuya? She's my partner, the one Mother told you about. Father and Mother both told me to take care of her today, since she's not feeling well after a powerful outburst. Tatsuya's voice wavers a bit at this last part, but I'm too busy enduring his grandfather's harsh gaze. Grandpa Yugamura finally gives one swift nod before glancing at Tatsuya. Oh, finally. Felt like I was going to collapse. You're supposed to be helping... you're supposed to be helping Shinomura. Yes. Why is it that she suffered a loss of control, then? I wasn't doing my job well enough. In a very small voice, Tatsuya adds, in fact, I caused it. Grandpa Yukamura doesn't say anything, but I know from first-hand experience that his glare is probably making Tatsuya want to melt to the ground. Tatsuya doesn't even meet his eyes. After a moment, Grandpa Yukamura turns around and walks off. I cannot imagine, like, how difficult and stressful it would be to live in a situation like this. Like, where this is your grandfather, and you're like, yes, sir. Oh my god, my grandfather can kick my ass. I mean, you have to be respectful to your elders, but I mean, like, holy shit. Grandpa Yukamura is scary, man. Like, could you imagine that your entire life, not being able to, like, smile and joke and, you know... my grandfather yelled at me once because I was being an asshole when I was, like, a little kid, and I was, like, I was devastated. Okay? Because my grandfather has always been, like, the nicest person ever. And, like, him yelling once in my entire life, and I was like, he hates me, it's horrible. Just because it was so awkward, but I was being a little shit. I deserved it. But, I mean, like, holy crap. I can't imagine, like, I mean, obviously he's not being mean, but he's being very serious and very stern, and I can't, whoa! I'm sorry, my head's gonna explode. I mean, I guess if that's what you grow up with, you're used to it, but, like, it just seems so stressful. I exhale, sagging from the tension in the air, and the breath I didn't know I was holding. Tatsuya seems to relax as well. He begins to walk off too, but I grab his shoulder. What is it? Oh, I forgot to introduce you. It's already obvious, but that was my grandfather, Daichi Yukamura. No, it's not that, it's... what should I do? Where should I go so I won't be in the way? Just stand off to the side and try not to get hit by anything. Hit by anything? Tatsuya nods and shakes off my hand. Left alone amidst all the motion, I decide to retreat to the furthest corner away from the group as possible. Okay. I wonder what he helps with around here anyway. I look at the group of people lining up with swords sheathed at their sides. Are some of these people children? The children in question have blue hair, though, and I realize they must be half-dragons, too. The other people are adults and seem normal enough without any blue hair. But who knows? Still, it's strange to see they'd put children and adults together. While I'm observing the group, they line up and begin a series of bowing motions. Most noticeably, they bow first to a picture of a beautiful but stern-looking woman behind Daichi that even he bows to. I can't help but wonder who she is. While they continue their pre-practice rituals, I suddenly notice that Tatsuya is nowhere to be found. I search the rows of G-clad men, women and children before finding one man that stands out. I breathe out in a whisper. Oh, I'm sorry. I saw this. I was looking for pictures for the to use to make my thumbnail for the CAS, and obviously I got some for Tatsuya because I eventually want to make him, but yeah, and I saw this and I was like, it just blew my damn mind. I thought it was coming later, so I'm like, I'm not gonna say anything. I didn't realize it was gonna come out like now, but like, this just blows my goddamn mind. Because, did you see this coming? Like, I saw it and I was like, what? What? I mean, it's the same thing as like when Sho becomes the Dark Phoenix and and it's like, whoa. But like, this is like, wow. Just, holy hell. It's enough to make a girl fall off her couch. I mean, Jesus Christmas. It looks like this elf prince, even though he's a dragon. It's just, wow. Just, good lord. I'm sorry. But what he looks like before, he's like adorable and nerdy and cute. And you're like, and then he shows up like this and you're like, I just don't even know what to do with myself. These stupid games. Why? Why are all the men pretty? I just want to be a cartoon. It would just make life so much easier. Oh, good lord. Is that Tatsuya? No, it couldn't be, but there is no other answer for it. This young man undoubtedly looks like Tatsuya, and he's the only one who's dressed differently. If you could even call that being dressed. I'm shocked to see Tatsuya of all people clad in armor and very little else. Yeah, right? Jeez, Tatsuya, who knew you were hiding that kind of body? She's like, and if I didn't like you before, I like you now. I end up mumbling the last part out loud and quickly clasp my hands over my mouth. Okay, don't stare at him or... Right as they finish their last rituals, Tatsuya's blue eyes meet mine. Whoa. He's looking at you and you're like, drooling? Sorry, there's a puddle on... I don't know where that puddle on the floor came from. We both quickly look away, and I'm grateful when the participants are ordered to draw their swords. I'm shocked when every single person there summons a thin sword made of ice, from the men to the children. Tatsuya immediately walks off to check each person's form and weapon before they start practicing. I see now, he's probably a teacher here. He said that, didn't he? He said that when they were walking, like, I help him teach. He must be good if he's been doing it for so long. Maybe that's why he was able to help me and Emmy so much, since he's used to teaching. After Tatsuya nods to Daichi, the combatants start practicing their swings. I watch them go through the motions, but my eyes occasionally drift to Tatsuya. I still can't believe how good he looks. Arrgh, I know, right? And then and look at that sad, forlorn face. Don't you just... Oh my god, I can't handle it. I grab my head and shake it. Get your head on straight, Inara. No, seriously, Inara, there's no way to get your head on straight with him looking like that. Occasionally, Tatsuya meets my eyes, and we end up looking away every time. Some time passes like this until finally the students split off into several groups. Having been spacing out, I didn't catch the reason, but when the group face each other and draw their ice swords, I realize that they're going to spar. For the most part, the groups are matched to age and gender where possible, and Tatsuya, he seems to be facing off against a larger blue-haired male that seems a lot more experienced than the rest. The two slowly come toward each other and hesitate only while looking for the right moment. Their icy swords meet over and over again, but it seems to be in a practiced way that looks like a dance rather than an actual battle. Yeah, it'd be like fencing, I guess. Still, I'm impressed by Tatsuya's speed and footwork as he easily avoids his opponent's strikes. He doesn't just defend, though. He quickly thrusts his sword at the man whenever the opportunity presents itself. However, his opponent seems to meet most of his attacks head-on without budging, and I can't tell if they're evenly matched or if it's intentional. While the man isn't as fast as Tatsuya, they eventually begin to pick up the pace enough that I have trouble following who's winning or losing. Your human brain can't process it. The strikes seem to be more and more powerful too, and I begin to get concerned. Does seeing the power of dragons in action make you afraid? I hadn't noticed it, but Daichi snuck up beside me at some point. Or maybe snuck isn't the right way to describe it. Sneaking doesn't seem possible for someone like Daichi. He just magically appeared. I swallow and start pulling my hand through my ponytail while I try to think of how to answer. Well, they certainly are intimidating. I get the feeling that either could crush me in an instant if they wanted, but... I don't feel fear around Tatsuya. He's such a calm, precise person. He doesn't do things without thinking them through first. Daichi barks a laugh. Is that so? Realizing what I've just said, I look away. I must sound like an idiot telling him about his grandson. He's known him for 21 years, and I've only known him for a few weeks. You should always be on your guard around a dragon. It seems that Tatsuya hasn't taught you much about us. We lose control over our emotions in our true forms. It's something we have to gain as we get older and become more experienced. The younger a dragon is, the more unpredictably violent they are. Even as we speak, Tatsuya is no doubt losing the small amount of control he has learned up to this point. I glance at the heated sparring match between Tatsuya and his opponent. And see, that's why he's not telling you how much he goddamn loves you, because he would lose his goddamn mind and, blow up and just ravish you. What? I mean, that's not appropriate. That's probably not how this would go, but, just saying. Yes, it would. Are we not supposed to be worried about that? Just how bad can this get? I didn't know that. I don't know anything about dragons. Much. Okay, that doesn't make sense, but anyway. Tatsuya doesn't tell me anything more than what I need to know. He's always been a quiet boy, but I think his way of thinking is far more efficient than mine. Daichi laughs again. My wife says I ramble too much, but I've got 70 years of experience, so why not talk about it? Jesus doesn't look 70. 70? He doesn't look more than 50, if that. So I take it you've never heard the story of the Dragon Mage War, then? I shake my head, bewildered at the idea that there was some war ordinary humans had no idea about. If you're going to be in contact with dragons, you should know. 93 years ago, a fierce and ruthless, good lord, Spacey, land attack, ruthless leader rose to the top of the Ryu clan. She struck fear into the hearts and minds of her enemies to fear her one by one. Wait, what? She struck fear into the hearts and minds of her enemies to fear her one by one. Okay, I think whoever typed this up was a little drunk when they were doing it and didn't proofread it. It's just not making a lot of sense sometimes. She was a powerful ice dragon warrior, one of the most respected there ever was. She sought to reopen the supernatural world to humans and to stop the hate and attacks against dragons and supernaturals that still happened back then. She reasoned that dragons should be ruling over those who were weaker than us, and that we should not cower in fear before humans. She was violent and aggressive, subjugating entire villages and putting them under Ryu control and killing any who opposed her. Eventually, she caught the attention of the Mage Society, who saw themselves as protectors of their powerless but equally human brethren. Daichi pauses to sigh. I glance at Tatsuya and see that he safely finished his match against his sparring partner. Both are breathing heavily and sweating, but only the man is on the floor. It is a long, bitterly sad story of death and struggling. Maybe Tatsuya can tell you the rest sometime. But that woman, the one who caused so much pain and suffering and caused dragons that... Wait. The one that caused so much pain and suffering and caused dragons that were still feared by mages today. See, I'm serious. They were drunk. She was my grandmother, Nakano Yukamura, and she was a tough lady, but she loved me with everything she had. Even a person like that did such terrible things. And I'm still proud to be her grandson. Proud? Daichi laughs and slaps me on the back. It seemed light, but it seriously stings. I'm proud of the woman she was, but I don't harbor any kind of desire to start a crusade. I just want to drink beer and get old with my beautiful wife, Anda. Well, that's a nice dream. Daichi laughs again and I get ready to brace myself for another slap, but his expression suddenly turns serious. You seem like a decent enough girl, so I'll tell you this much. If you're messing about with Katsu, it's not going to lead to anything good. He's known for throwing girls away like yesterday's trash. He's also the one responsible for single-handedly wrecking the clan my grandmother gave everything to save. I won't have any mercy on him or anyone else who threatens the Ryu clan. I'm not... Tatsuya walks up to us, still covered in sparkling beads of sweat. Yeah, sparkles. You like it. Grandfather, everyone's done with their water break. Good, good. How was Kuroda today? It gave me some trouble, but it wasn't a problem. Daichi laughs and slaps Tatsuya on the back, much harder than me, but Tatsuya barely winces. That's because he's strong as fuck, girl. Have you seen those muscles? Jesus. Good then, I'll send the students for some solo practice time. You can give your girl here some training in the meantime. What? Yeah. What? But she's not ready for that. Daichi gives both me and Tatsuya a single shove that sends us stumbling over the practice floor. I nearly fall, but Tatsuya steadies my arm. We look back at Daichi in confusion. Isn't your job to make her ready? I stand up straight and realize that all the students' eyes are on the two of us. I look desperately at Tatsuya. He's not really going to attack me, right? I won't do it, grandfather. Is that right? Then can you protect her from me? Daichi takes what I assume is a battle stance, and I back away slowly. This is just like what happened with Professor Kazama all over again. I scan the room for a quick exit, but Tatsuya steps in front of me. He's gonna protect us. It's adorable. Don't hurt her. Tatsuya. I breathe a sigh of relief and try to calm myself down. But then Tatsuya dissolves his ice blade. What are you... He spins around to face me in his own battle stance, icy claws up. Fine, I'll spar with her myself. You can't! I can't! Get ready. Before I can register what's happening, Tatsuya's on me in a flash. Ooh. I'm pushed back against the wall hard enough that it hurts. Well, that's unfortunate, but slamming a girl up against the wall could be just not as violent. I'm just saying. A little bit nicer. Gentle. He has one arm pressed against my midsection and an icy claw at my throat, just a hair away from touching it. He practically snarls at me. Oh, well, hi. You have to defend yourself. I slowly shake my head. How? Even if I knew how, I can't. With an anguished grunt, Tatsuya leaps away from me and I slide down to the ground. I look up at Tatsuya, breathing hard. Oh, I'd get pissed. He stares at me and something behind those cold eyes tells me he won't let me off easy this time. Well, what a bitch. We're gonna have to kick his ass. Girl! Girl! He readies himself, pulling his body into a fighting stance. Terror clutches me in its grasp. I have to do something. Bite back. With a growl, Tatsuya throws himself at me and a chill goes through my entire body. I shut my eyes tightly, not wanting to see what happens next. I feel something like a shockwave go through me, but strangely it doesn't hurt. Of course not. It's your shockwave. An odd noise like ice scraping against ice causes me to finally open my eyes. I see that Tatsuya's face is right in front of mine. He's crouching, looking at me, cowering pitifully on the floor. Well. You did it. Did what? I quickly realize that I'm actually looking at Tatsuya through a slightly distorted filter. A filter that's a floating sheet of ice. Whoa. I back up from the ice and stand up. Tatsuya gives an unexpected chuckle, and I think it's the first time I've heard anything like it from him. I think it's funny that, like, when the one with Sho, she had, like, more kind of fiery power, and, like, in this one she's got more icy power. It's like her power is kind of matching her man of choice, which is kind of cute. Anyway. This is a long chapter. Yeah, Tatsuya gives an unexpected chuckle, and I think it's the first time I've heard anything like it from him. The floating ice shield evaporates in midair, and Tatsuya holds out a hand, claw, to me. I take it despite how cold it is, and he wraps an arm around me. Tatsuya turns us toward Daichi, and I don't miss the triumphant look at his face, or the surprised look on all of the students who were supposed to be practicing. I knew you had power in you. I was curious to see what you'd pull out, but an ice barrier, very nice. Tatsuya, do a good job of training this one. Teach her how the Yukamuras handle ice, and she'll make an excellent partner. Oh, ha! Grandpa's trying to marry us too. Partner, quote, quote. Daichi turns on his heel and declares that practice time is over. Except for those who weren't focusing on doing their solo exercises and watching us instead. They get to stay and do push-ups. Tatsuya seems to finally realize the position we're in and lets go of me. He still doesn't look at me, though. I'll take you home. You did a good job today. Thanks, though I didn't expect to get any training. I guess it worked out for the best. That's what I originally came with you to do, after all. That's what I originally came with you to do, after all. Yeah, but I'm sorry about having to do that. I wasn't going to hurt you. I would never do that. What do you call what you were trying to do, then? I just knew Grandfather wouldn't hold back. He would try to hurt you and trigger your powers. So I did it myself. You're both crazy. I didn't do anything to deserve that. I know. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for the way my family is. For the way I am. I know it must be difficult for you. And I'm sorry. Just don't do it again. You scared me. Yeah, sorry. An awkward silence falls upon us, and I almost feel bad for the way I reacted. Still, I am happy he seems genuinely apologetic about it. It did hurt, but if I say that, he'll just feel worse. Despite the fact that nothing turned out like I thought it would, I still feel better. I end up going home that day with my heart feeling a lot higher than it did the day before. But Tatsuya's mysterious morning visit with Haruna never quite leaves my mind. I was going to say, this is a long-ass chapter. Oh my god, I'm so in love with this. Oh my god, we've got like... we're getting so close. Because there's only 15 chapters. There's like, what, 6 left? 7, technically, because then we have the thing. And I hope we get the passionate ending. Because there's like the The mystic ending, the passionate ending, and the dark ending. And the dark ending, I feel like, is a bad ending, which we don't want. So, yeah. Anyway, so yeah. Yeah, I'll wrap this part up here. I have no idea what that. I'll see you guys next time. Remember to give the video a big thumbs up and subscribe to see more.